Author Blake Crouch once wrote, "Time is an illusion, a construct made out of human memory. There's no such thing as the past, the present, or the future. It's all happening now." And that's why we're talking about calendars today. It is Memorabilia Monday on CanucksArmy.com, and today we're talking about Canucks calendars. Specifically, we're talking about the Vancouver Canucks official calendars that were published every single year from 1971 all the way until 2023, either by Shoppers Drug Mart or Pharmacy. The promotional ones that had the team schedules on it, it had the games, the opponents, the puck drops, broadcast information, all of that stuff that you would get at your local pharmacy. Is this a very niche topic for a Memorabilia Monday? Maybe, but it's something that I've always wanted to talk about, specifically since the calendar stopped being printed back in 2023. We've gone on now 3 seasons without one. In all likelihood, we will never see them again. It is certainly not going to return anytime soon. So let's take a trip down memory lane and look at the history of these calendars, what went into them, what the designs have changed, and what they meant for the Canucks every single year. Now, I don't have to explain to you what a calendar is. You're a human in the 21st century. You have one on your phone or your computer. It's just another way to measure time, like a clock, a sundial, or anything else. I hear Shoppers Drug Mart did try to offer a Canucks sundial, but it didn't sell well. Many of the first recorded physical calendars, according to Wikipedia, are from ancient Egypt. And little did the ancient Egyptians know that eventually printed calendars would be used to track when the next game of a Canadian hockey team was.
The Egyptians believed the most significant thing you could do in your life was die.
The very first official Canucks calendar was created in 1971-72, ahead of the Canucks' second ever season, in partnership with Shoppers Drug Mart, the Canucks pharmacy sponsor at the time. It was a very simple, straightforward, one piece of paper that had the Canucks logo on it, it had the team photo on it, and then it had 8 months. It just features October to May. It doesn't have any of the off-season months. It is specifically made just for hockey season, from October, when the Canucks began playing, to theoretically playing into May for the Stanley Cup final. Of course, the Canucks would not need those extra April and May spots on the calendar for quite some time. The photos aren't super high quality, but we can gather pretty much the basic information that we need to, that the blue games are home, the green are away. It would just display the Canucks and the abbreviation for the team that they were playing that night. No extra information, no puck drop information, no broadcast stuff, although it does have an early ad for the Shoppers Drug Mart people are proud to bring you Canucks hockey on CKNW when games are on the radio. And that's another video that we'll probably do sometime down the line, because who knows how much longer we'll have that for. The team photo would essentially be the main thing that would follow through, and it would stay pretty much unchanged for the next decade, save for when the Canucks changed over to the Flying V colors, and the color scheme changed from green and blue to red and yellow. Then in 1980, they switched from the one-page poster to an actual flip calendar, specifically a calendar with just a couple months on it. They would just do 4 months on one page at a time. It would still have the team photo on the top, and then in the games on the bottom. Nothing more than that, some ticket information. But that was pretty much it. They kept it still very, very simple. Now, the Canucks were not the only team that Shoppers Drug Mart was making calendars with. They were also making it for teams that included, but were not limited to, the Flames, Oilers, Blue Jays, and Maple Leafs. And in the early seasons, they were very much the cookie cutter same. They pretty much did the same design for every team. It was clearly being done by shoppers as opposed to individual teams. It was just left up to the company to decide how they would use the pictures, what the design would look like. For example, this Canucks calendar from 81-82, their first trip to the Stanley Cup Finals, it just has some basic pictures on the cover. It just says Shoppers Drug Mart official Canuck team calendar. This, you could basically just change the colors, change the photos, replace the logo, and this could go for any team. As far as good covers go, I really like the 1982-83 one. I actually saw some of the ones that also came out this year for other teams, but the Canucks version is undoubtedly the best because the V off to the left-hand side just really pops. It's just a cool looking cover. And you can see that it says the Smythe Division Campbell Conference Stanley Cup finalists on the bottom. It puts it at a place in time. It wouldn't be till about the late 80s to early 1990s that the Canucks would really start to put their own stamp on what the calendar would be, and their own marketing people would start putting things behind it. And in 1990, they had this one, which has an artist's rendition of a Canuck player. I'm not sure which player that's supposed to be, if any. It might just be a generic player for the 20th anniversary of the franchise. And it says Breakaway, which was a Canucks tagline during this era. Now, of course, we could talk about calendars. We could spend time looking at all of these photos I've found across the internet, be it on eBay or Craigslist, or including some sent in by you guys. Shout out to Rosario, who sent me in this one from 2007 and 2004. Those are some cool calendars from the mid-2000s. But really, without having the calendars in front of me, it's a lot harder to show you what they meant and what the idea was behind each of them. I think you know where this is going. We don't just have one stack of calendars to look at today. We actually have two. Welcome to a new camera angle. First of all, let's take a look at some of the old Canucks calendars today. Originally, this portion of the video was just going to be going from 2008 into the 2020s with my personal collection. But then, by random chance, I happened to find a Craigslist ad for someone selling a stack from the 1990s and all the way to the 2000s for only 15 bucks. Shout out to Dan on Craigslist who sold me these today. I ran down in the rain to grab them, got them here in one piece. Starting with this era, we've got the black border era, I guess I would call them. About, I believe, 5 of these calendars had just a very simple design, just a simple team action shot with a black border, usually an NHL logo, a Canucks logo, and then just the year. They all kind of look like this. Here's 1993's for 92-93 for comparison. See, pretty much the same thing. I haven't actually looked at many of these, so I'm interested to see what we find in here. Immediately, like what I see, we've got one of the November 1991, Kirk McLean just shoving Dave Taylor from the LA Kings. That's a pretty great shot. There's no TV information. There's not even a what time is puck drop of any sort in this one. You get some cool vintage logos like the OG Sharks logo, the Jets, the Blues, the Nordiques are in here. That's the earliest calendar we've got in here. You know, the basic concept is always the same. You get the nothing in the later months. You get some important information like Victoria Day in 1992 was on May 18th. And then they combine the few summer months because honestly, who cares about those? Ironically, so we have, I think, almost a complete stack. This is from 91, 92. So this is before Pavel Bure even started playing for the Canucks is when these were printed. And we have a stack that goes all the way to 2002. The only one that is missing, ironically, is 1993-94, the year they made the Stanley Cup Finals. We do have 95 in here, which I would say is maybe even a better one to get because it's coming right off of the Cup run, so you get all the Cup photos in it. Like the cover is Pavel Bure deking out Andy Moog in the second round of the playoffs. I believe this is from Game 5. One of the game-winning goals. That's an iconic shot of Bure. Now, the one thing that I will note about this one is, so the only reason this calendar is probably not as good as some of the other ones is because this is, as you might be remembering, hey, wait a minute, wasn't there a lockout in 1994-95? And you would be correct, which is why this calendar not only starts in January, there are no games in it. It's just a normal calendar. You do get a good shot of from the Stanley Cup Finals in here. Oh, this is a really cool one. This is, I believe, Game 4 against Toronto in the conference finals. Cliff Ronning had the game winner with about 2 or 3 minutes left. Roll the clip.
Quickly running with Momesso coming in. Score!
And then this photo, I believe, is taken right after they hit the empty net.
Close to the goal. And it's knocked down the ice. This is going to be an empty net goal by the Rocket. Here. This is over.
What else we got? First team photo at GM Place. You can see the Orca Bay logo is on the front. I know some people shudder when they hear Orca Bay. To me, it just means my era. We're starting to enter my era of the Canucks. We're getting there. Pavel Bure and Alexander McGillney for the first time together. That's pretty cool. Oh my God, Fish Sticks logo. How about that? You know what? I'll give them credit here. I'll give them some credit here. They printed this. I don't know when exactly they printed these, but they have plenty of photos from all of these are from GM Place. Considering they had not been in the building yet, I'm pretty impressed with with the fact that all of these photos appear to be shots at GM Place. None of the action photos are from the Coliseum. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, because one of the pictures in here is from the Detroit game, the very first game at GM Place. And they have that here, October 9th, against the Red Wings. Surely they did not print that before this game happened. Now, those are all the black border era calendars. Now we get into the era where the Canucks marketing team clearly started having their hand in the design on these, rather than just it being the same calendar basically year over year. Now you got a cool little design of Corey Hirsch on here. This one's of particular interest to me because 1997 was when I was born. So why don't we just skip right ahead to June. And oh, would you look at that, Corey Hirsch, a goaltender. It's almost like they knew a goaltender was being born that month. And it's also Kirk McLean's birthday on June 26th, about a week later. Isn't that something? Esa Tikkanen, short-lived time with the Canucks. Was he even a Canuck at this point? I feel like he was gone already. Yeah, because they don't even mention Esa Tikkanen in the photo. Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux come into town in the same week, I believe, of 96. Oh my God, a shot of Leaf Rolene trying to take a shot while the Kings are wearing the Burger King jerseys. That isn't a window into this era. And Alexander McGillney wearing the salmon red. 97, 98, and who's that on the front? Oh no. Oh no, it's Mark Messier. Thankfully, I don't think he's on the cover of any more of these. It was just this first one. They started adding fun facts in 96. They continue that trend into this one. Lots of like, on this day in Canucks history, October 12th, Pavel Bure ties a club record by scoring 3 goals, 2 shorthanded, and 1 assist in one period, the second period, versus the Winnipeg Jets in 1992. Oh, and this is a rare photo. Speaking of Pavel Bure, that's him in the Orca with the number 96. He did not wear 96 for the regular season. He wore number 10. So that's a very rare photo. That must have been from the preseason. Here's them in their brand new Orca uniforms and everything. And there's Bure again in the 96 jersey instead of a 10. You got Trevor Linden, Kirk McLean, Gino Ojic's in there. Jyrke Lume. Before a season that went off the wheels. And good Lord, speaking of went off the wheels, I don't think I need to say much more than just showing the photo. 98-99, the cover athlete, Matthias Oland. I'm going to tell you right now, this is them leaning into, it's a brand new era. Yes, the team is bad, but we got the kids. The 2000s are coming up. We gotta show you that this is the next generation of the Vancouver Canucks. And how they did that was by doing this calendar style where one is at the top and then it goes down in just a line like this. I don't know whose idea this was. I think they might have overthought this a tad. But you know what we do have now as we get into this era? We have broadcast information. Tampa Bay playing on the 25th on CTV Sportsnet. Remember when CTV owned Sportsnet instead of Rogers? Probably not if you're watching this video. What about the 23rd against the Panthers? That was played on VTV, Vancouver Television. Remember that? I kind of do. I think they played Grizzlies games too. And then Nashville on the 27th again on Hockey Night in Canada on CBC. Future generations are going to be like, what is Hockey Night in Canada? And we're going to have to explain that to them very sadly, what that used to be. Oh look, Brad May. Brad May for not May, which would make more sense, but January. Oh God, Dave Scatchard in June, because why not? Wait, is that a promotional photo of Mark Messier with a baby? Mark Messier is a regular visitor to Canuck Place. Moving on, we're officially in the 2000s. This was the 30th anniversary season. So these more so are the top 30 Canucks of all time. They did learn their mistakes from the last time, and they put an actual grid calendar on here again, because whatever the heck that was nuts. Unique, but nuts. At the back here, they have the top 30 Canucks of all time at what was chosen in 2000. A lot of my favorites are not here yet. In fact, some of the people on here are not even players. Some of them they've included, like the Griffiths family is counted as one of the top 30 Canucks. The late Larry Ashley, who was a trainer for the Canucks for quite a long time. You've got Jim Robson and Tom Larscheid count together as one. I love that. The dawn of a new era is beginning. And the reason we know that is because we got to go to 2001. First of all, this photo was taken at Burnaby 8 Rinks, now Scotia Barn. You can tell because I recognize that background area anywhere. Now we have finally, we have puck drop information. So 7 p.m. This calendar starts in November again, because this is when they clearly printed it. 7 p.m. at Washington? That can't be right. That's like a 10 p.m. game in D.C. For some reason, they said all times local to home team, which means they're saying local, like 7 p.m. Washington time. So 4, I don't know why they would do it that way. Very strange. Oh, and speaking, we got a new era here. Look who that is. That is a very baby-faced Daniel and Henrik Sedin. Oh, future MVPs of the league in their very first seasons. Oh, and Felix Potvin for the goalies everywhere, including myself. The Canucks make the playoffs in 01, and then we get to 02, the last part of this stack. This is a familiar motif to me, because this is really when I started following the Canucks, or at least when I was old enough to start following the Canucks and understanding who they were. Ooh. Look at that, a big poster of Marcus Naslund. That's pretty cool. In the Gradient Orca, that was a good uniform. Dan Cloutier is here, has arrived on the scene, because this is their, this is going to be, they had just gotten swept by the Avs. They're going into the series against Detroit at this point. Henrik Sedin's favorite actor and actresses at this time were Mel Gibson and Meg Ryan. I think he would change that answer, at least for one of those now. Sinful food for Daniel Sedin is pizza. But his favorite dinner is Swedish meatballs, and his favorite TV show was Friends. My favorite skater growing up was Brendan Morrison, and he's finally in one of these here in all the way down in September of 2002. So that's the entire era of the Shoppers Drug Mart calendars that I've got. In 2008, the Canucks switched their pharmacy sponsorships from Shoppers Drug Mart to PharmaSave, and that's when we got this for the first time. If I were to do a top 5 favorite covers of all the Canucks calendars, as you can guess, this is probably number 1 for me. Number 1 in my heart and yours, Roberto Luongo. And not only that, it's him as captain. This is obviously back when the Canucks have changed over to their green and blue again. You've got Daniel Sedin, Sammy Salo, Steve Bernier. How about that? Now also the calendars have switched from being like sideways like this, from like flip book style, to sideways up like this. They're, I believe, the same size. Yeah, it's just instead of flipping them up nowadays, flipping them up sideways like this, it's lengthwise. At this point, you start to see a couple other things creeping in. Like, for example, in February 2009, you see Canucks pay-per-view in the mix here. On February 15th against the Montreal Canadiens, you had to pay extra to watch that game. And now you pay $300 a year to watch some of the games. There's a lot of character in these calendars. I like this one a lot. This is my favorite of the bunch, and probably also because it's just when I'm at my peak Canucks fan era, 2009, 2010. We start to see the prices as well on these. These are $5 at this point. You got Alex Burrows in this one. This is the best era to be a Canucks fan, at least for me. Was, in these eras back when I was still, I wasn't media at this point. I was still, God, I would have been 13, 14. You see Columbus, Phoenix, Nashville, the Islanders. I believe the Thrashers are in here somewhere, certainly. The Olympic break for 2010. Obviously, Vancouver 2010 hosting the Olympics. That's pretty nifty. You see the whole beginning of like their very insanely long road trip that began in January. And then 2011, the season. They don't even have the 40th anniversary branding on this one, which I find interesting. There's Lou front and center again, as per usual, coming off of Henrik's Hart Trophy season, which is why he is the cover for this one. I'm realizing as I go through these, there's not that much to talk about once I get into it. Sergei Shirokov's birthday, March 10th. Remember Sergei Shirokov? God, I thought he was going to be something.
Fakes the shot. Now Walski to the blue line. Rebound, they score. Shirokov on the second chance. And the young man, Vancouver fans are so interested in engaging, has the first goal in the power play to make it 1-0.
And of course, fateful June 2011. Pavel Bure on one side, Henrik Sedin on the other. That an omen that they would be playing in the Cup Finals that year. Kevin Bieksa's birthday was June 16th. Day before mine. Oh, so close. We were so close. We're not doing that today. We're not doing that today. 2011-12, coming off the Cup Finals, the Heart of a Canuck series once again. Luongo right at the beginning. Daniel Sedin coming off of winning the Ted Lindsay Award as voted on by the players as the MVP that season. All of these are pretty much the same. They have the same font, the same logos, the same basic design. Not much changes year over year for these ones. Let's skip ahead. 2015. The beginning of the Jim Benning era. Oh no. I think we're getting into the bad years, guys. Kevin Bieksa's here, though. Kevin Bieksa's still here, so that's pretty cool. First Chris Tanev sighting in one of these. Eddie Lack in December. That's how you know it's Luongo's gone, is Eddie Lack is on this cover. This is the year they make the playoffs. Radim Verbata's birthday, just to give you an idea of where we're at. And Finn for July and August. 2015-16. Bo Horvat's on the cover. This time, this is coming off his rookie season. Oh, they started adding 2 players. You got, again, like the play for this poem mantra. I'm not sure what you'd call that. Radim Verbata's in October. Ryan Miller. I really liked Ryan Miller. People were talking about on social media recently about which Canucks played really well but didn't get the recognition they deserved. I believe Josh Elliott Wolf put Ryan Miller. He was the reason that they didn't completely stink through his time here. They could have been so much worse with anyone with a goalie other than Ryan Miller. Frankie Corrado, Daniel Sedin, and Frankie Corrado at the bottom. Frankie, I'm going to tag you in this. Ronnie Kennens, there he is, with Chris Tanev. There, he's there. 2017-18, the going fast era? I don't know what we want to call this. The price has gone up as well. It was $6.99. This year was $6.99. It has now all the way gone up to $8.99, a full $2 more over 2 years. I must be missing 16-17. I believe Horvat was on the cover for that one as well. Eric Goodbranson's on this one. Oh no. I've also noticed they've stopped showing broadcast information again. It's just puck drops now. It really does change every time. But you can see what they're going for here, where they're trying to showcase a bit more speed on the covers this time. They're trying to showcase like hard work and hustle, because that's really all they got going for them at this point. The tides for the Sea of Granlund were so high that he made the calendar. And Louis Eriksson. The last few we got here are all like very colorful. I'll give them this. In these eras, blue and silver seems to be the predominant color schemes, whereas in these years, they really lean into the green more, and I do like that. You get Brock Besser on the cover for this one. Okay, we got some writing in here. See, I was keeping track of when they would win and lose. They had a good start this season, or at least a decent start, and then really fell off in November. Oh, this is when they started just saying battle, 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 battle. I remember that. That was part of the branding. Force of nature, Brock Besser. He is very natureful, I guess. When I think of nature, I think of Brock Besser. West Coast, don't coast. It's full of like, again, we're working hard and hustling. We put our work boots on one lace at a time. Turn the tide. Again, this is all things that I could see just being like on a big wall in like the workout room. That's what these are. Rise and grind. Oh my God, did the Canucks invent rise and grind? Is that what I'm finding out here? Did we do that? We're so sorry. Rise and grind culture started with the 2018-19 Vancouver Canucks, who famously finished, what, like 13th in the Western Conference that year? Anyways, 50th anniversary season. We thought things were going to get decent, and they didn't. Elias Pettersson's on the cover of this one. That last one would have been his rookie year. Here he is on the front of this one after coming off of his Calder Trophy winning season. Bo Horvat being named captain this year. This is a fun one because if we get into all the way to March, you can see when this calendar stops getting updated for some reason. And actually, this is one of the reasons I wanted to make this video and wanted to talk about the calendars, is because we're in an era now where everything is on the internet. Every season schedule is in your pocket now. It's not on a wall calendar like this after they stopped producing these, I believe, in 2023. 2022-23 was the last season one of these calendars came out, and it was a pet calendar. When they stopped producing these, it meant that all schedules are now online, and those can be updated and changed, and they're less a window into the era they were made. These obviously tell a story of where the Canucks were at different points of their history. You can see a little bit not only with the players that are on and who they're choosing to market the team with, but things like, again, the slogans on this one tell you that they're a team that's not going to be winning Stanley Cups anytime soon. They're building for the future, and they're learning how to play hard and hustle and that type of thing. And it gives you a unique perspective on where the team, where the city was at the point of which these calendars were made. And with all of that being online, they are just a list that can be updated and changed and frankly could be lost to time somewhere in the future. Most people know that the Canucks were in Arizona when the season got called, but did you know they were going to play Colorado the very next night? Did you know that they had a game against Tampa on March 18th that got missed, or a game against the Jets, the next generation game in Vancouver against Winnipeg? They were going to finish their season against the Golden Knights on Saturday, April 4th. If there's anything to take away from this video, it's that having physical record keeping and physical copies of stuff is important, because things can be lost on the internet. Things can be erased and changed and can be rewritten. You can't rewrite a calendar that's already been printed. And that's why you have things like Bo Horvat as captain on the front and in branding for the team. That's stuff that would not appear if we didn't have these. Thatcher Demko's on the cover by this point. Markstrom's now gone. This is their first season back with fans in the building. Wynn Hughes, future captain. There's a Winter Olympic break in here. They didn't go to the Olympics in 2022 because of COVID. All of these tell a story. They tell the story of who the team was and the year that this calendar was printed, what they were trying to sell to fans at that point. In the 90s, it's Pavel Bure. In the 2000s, it's Marcus Naslund. It's the West Coast Express. In the late 90s, it's, yes, this team's not very good right now, but you're going to come see some youthful players rising up as one. Same thing goes for the early 2020s and frankly into now. Even though they don't make the calendars anymore, they each come with like slightly different variants, slightly different stories to tell about players and what to look for and who mattered to this franchise at the time and where the team was at any given point. These are a window into a different era of Canucks hockey, a different era of Vancouver, and I'm glad we could go on this roller coaster together. And that is a journey through the history of Canucks PharmaSave and Shoppers Drug Mart calendars. What a niche topic to do a whole video on, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to go read the accompanying article about the Canucks calendars over on CanucksArmy.com for Memorabilia Monday. Make sure to click like if you enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe for future videos during the off season and into next year. And I will see you next time. Bye. Okay, I'll give you one thing. Like I said, some of these didn't age as well as others.